Hello there. Hi, it's me, Tony Cantwell, co-host of the very popular Sexy Beast podcast. This is just a bit of an intro to our live episode at Electric Picnic. It was so much fun. So I want to say as well, a huge thanks. Imagine there was a tank that was a shoe. Oh, from the comedy brain of Tony Cantwell. Yeah, listen, come here to me. Live episode. It was so much fun. Electric Picnic. I want to say a huge thank you to everyone who came because it was 12:30 in the morning. Let's not kid ourselves. It says PM. We all know that's at 12 a.m. So a huge thank you to that to everyone who came, and it was such a fun episode. Everyone was as equally delicate as me and Jago were. I didn't have a voice. At some points, Jago just doesn't want to talk. Jago starts the episode by saying, just to let you know, in case I might zone out. So that's the sort of top drawer stuff you're into here. It was loads of fun. And a huge thank you to Alison Spittle, who was as equally hungover but didn't show it at all, and was so good just for keeping the conversation going and the energy high. Her beautiful brain is the most weirdest thing, and it's the most perfect thing just for triggering new conversations. I mean, at one point I'm like, do you think you could fight an ape? And she's like, I could definitely kill a dog. And then we talk about killing dogs. So there you are. You know, in self-defense, of course. This isn't, okay. But yeah, just to let you know as well, 15 minutes into the ep, funnily enough, while Alison is talking about her encounters with the dead through a Ouija board, something goes wrong with the sound desk. Paranormal Activity 6? I don't know, but it happens. And also at the end, we get so excited by our movie trailer that we do at the end, which Alison takes part in, which is so much fun, that we actually forget to tot up the final scores. And believe you me, we should have totted up the final scores because it shakes things up in the premiere crypt. So you'll want to listen to that, and me and Jago will do a bit of a recap on that and get the rankings in order ahead of the next episode. So without further ado, this is Sexy Beasts Live, one without a voice and one who just chooses not to speak. Enjoy.
If you travel high in the Himalayan region of Nepal, the landscape becomes cold, frigid, and unforgiving. Wildlife is scarce, plant life virtually non-existent. As the winds howl and the snow whips around, you may barely make out a large ape-like figure. Your eyes do not play tricks on you. You have just encountered Nepal's most elusive inhabitant. The Yeti. Hit the music. I'm going to hit the music. Sexy beast, you're just so sexy. Are you a Loch Ness monster? Or are you Bigfoot, cryptid, don't know vampires, banshees, Tony and Jago, oops, is a Wendigo. Hey, coming after me. Who's the fuck said you slap me, smack me? With a Bigfoot dick you can slap at me, blasphemy. You dare come at me with a Bigfoot dick and the Loch Ness monster pussy. Hey baby, Sexy Beast. Welcome to Sexy Beasts.
Hey! Forgot the earmuffs on that one there.
Here we are at EP. Everyone here at the back, come on, lie down here. Come up here, lie down here.
Lie down the front.
Yeah, come on, lie down here. Get comfy right up in here. We're all a bit delicate today.
Yeah.
So this is like a little slumber party of a show. Everyone come on, come out the front.
Lie down. Oh, that's
lie right
real,
down
that's
there.
real sexy.
Get very comfy. Look at this guy's beer hat.
That's it, but no beer in it though. Yeah.
Who here has listened to our podcast Sexy Beast before? Give us a cheer.
Oh,
great. So we are Sexy Beasts. We are your foray into the menagerie of the unexplained. If you've never heard the show before, every week we take a different creature, cryptid, monster. We rate and review the beast against other creatures in our premier crypt. So that we kind of, have a total leaderboard. We're like an audio version of Cryptid Top Drums. And it's a very special live version at the very end. We're also going to have freak encounters where we have your submitted stories of times you've actually come in contact with a ghost or a wolf man. Sometimes it's been an alien. So
It's mostly a ghost.
mostly a ghost or a banshee. So keep that in the back of your head, and we'll get you on mic later to tell your scary stories. My name is Tony Cantwell. I am the winner of Goss.ie's Cream of the Cock Award. And my co-host, as always, if he was a bowel movement, he'd be a 4 a.m. shit at Electric Picnic, Mark Jacob.
Yay, brilliant. That's fucking disgusting.
That is disgusting, yeah.
Okay, hello. Anyway, I'm a bit fragile today, so if I sort of zone out.
Are you saying if you fall asleep on stage?
Yeah.
Okay. Jago, how have you been enjoying Electric Picnic?
Yeah, it's good. What's everyone's favourite act they've been seeing? No? Just you.
Hey, Oz, thank you very much. What's your highlight been so far, Jago?
This Scratch. Did anyone see the Scratch?
You.
No, yeah, woo. Kendrick Lamar. Yeah, unreal.
I would say my highlight was thinking that we were being real sneaking into the Electric Ireland pub at the behind to steal drink, and then being told that we were very visible. We were just walking sideways.
Yeah. Turns out crabs are not invisible. So
Crabs are not invisible. Walk sideways, you can still
Fact
be seen.
of the day.
And I would say the worst thing that's happened so far, we got a kebab last night in a place called Leash Kebab, right? That's the worst thing I've ever eaten in my whole life. And you know what? I've only eaten one meal in Leash so far. And my opinion is the food in Leash sucks. But anyway, we are a monster podcast and we're here at a music festival. Jago, who are you most looking forward to seeing?
The Yeti.
No, the puns, Jago.
Oh, Kendrick Lamar made.
I'm really looking forward to seeing Jersey Devil wear. That's a play on the Jersey Devil and Jesse Ware. I'm also looking forward to Dua Lipa Cabra.
Hey.
So, do you have any more?
David Kitty Cat.
What does that even mean?
Like it's an animal. It's a cat.
So today we're going to be talking about the Yeti, the abominable snowman, and we have a very special poltergeist. The star and writer of Nowhere Fast, and the host of the extraordinarily more popular Alison Spittle show, Alison Spittle.
Hey.
Hey. Hey. Thanks so much for coming.
Let's do it. Hey. Hello. Right. Let's get into it.
Well, first and foremost, are you having a good festival?
Define good festival. Like, no one has jumped on my tent yet, which is a blessing.
Oh, really?
Although I am sleeping beside what can only be described as a very big bully.
A bully?
Yeah. He's friends with these people, but he keeps calling them names. Like
what?
Fat virgin? Oh, you fat virgin. You fat virgin. And I'm like, that could be factual. Like, leave the person alone. Do you know what I mean?
It's weird when you go into a tent and because you're indoors, you feel like no one can hear you.
Yeah,
but it's essentially like screaming through a t-shirt.
It literally is. Yeah, but I really want to tell his friends, like, dump him. He's toxic. Like, he's even doing it this morning. Do you know? It's really, really bad.
Like consistent with the fat virgin thing.
Fat virgin or prick. And I'm like, you're sleeping with these people. And you trust them enough to sleep beside them. Like, I would put a pillow over his face. Do you know what I mean? Just stop the psychological torment. Please, Fenton. Yeah. I presume his name is Fenton.
Yeah, he sounds like a Fenton.
Yeah.
Do you have any essential festival tips?
I do. Do you want actual festival tips?
Life hacks.
Yeah.
Bin bags. You will always have a need for bin bags. Oh my God. I used the showers today. Well, I'm gonna tell him. So there's showers in the production area, and there was one shower that was just vacant, and there was a big queue, and I was like, sure, I'll give it a go. Let's see. It must be a hidden gem, like Offaly or something like that, right? And and I opened it up. Someone had like taken a big shit in the shower. Like, I know. And a part of me, like, I've been discussing this with a lot of people. We're like a CSI, like Criminal Minds or something. We're trying to get into the mindset of a shower shitter. Do you know?
Yeah.
And we're like, why would they do this? Someone honestly said maybe he had a bad childhood. And it's like, that is not the answer for everyone, you know?
So you're saying someone in the production team with a bad childhood had a shit in the shower?
Well, that's the only explanation we have so far. Either that or like, look, if you have the wherewithal to clean your body, you know, to have hygiene at a proper standard higher than a baby wipe, you have to cop on not to shit in a shower. That's all I'm saying.
I suppose you just see a hole, you know, and you
Do
just
you know
go
what?
for it.
Even a Yeti wouldn't shit in a shower. It would have more, you know? Kill me.
Alison, what's your best technique for sneaking drink into the main area?
A smile.
Oh.
Taking an interest in the security person's life. Do you know? They're all from Scotland. They're all from Scotland here. Just tell them how much you love Scotland. And then just walk by, yeah. Or I used to get those little wine bags and just put them on my belly, you know, sellotape them there, and then just get my little tap. And it looked like I had a colostomy bag, but full of beautiful, beautiful wine. So
I used to hollow out Brennan's.
You did not.
So I would put the heel down, and then I'd hollow it all out and just put the crusts up, and then have a bottle in there, top wax bag.
Such an expensive disguise, though. Like, I'm sure Little Bread, the Ballymore crust, that's the brand. You know, they've got a waxy bag too. I'm just saying that's a very expensive disguise.
Yeah, well,
that's like hollowing out a Chanel bag. Do you know what I mean? Primark will do. Do you know? It'll be grand.
Well, they caught on. Well, we went in and then we did that, and then we went to the Jacks and then just threw all the crusts everywhere.
Hey.
You know, and then we just hadn't even thought about it. But the next day we went in doing the same trick, and someone just grabbed it, and he was like, the old Brennan's trick is it?
No.
So I shouldn't have left the crusts all over you shouldn't litter in general, really.
Yeah. Although at Oxygen, the security wouldn't let me in with the 1 litre vodka I had, and I went, "Fecky, I'll just drink it here." So I did, and I got violently sick during Paolo Nutini and destroyed my friend's day. I was in bed by 4.
I'll show you.
Yeah. Take that, society. Take that. Yeah.
So talking about cryptids.
Yeah.
Because we're a cryptid podcast. Do you know much about cryptozoology?
No, and I'm very excited. When you say cryptozoology, I actually don't know what that means. So no.
We shouldn't have done this.
Yeah.
I know. It's basically like it adds a science to the, like, people looking for weird shit. It gives it credibility by calling it a science.
The science name.
My sister fancied a weird fella. And they used to go off taking pictures of light orbs, but they were just dust
like
particles.
in the camera,
yeah, it's dust. You can, you can say it's a
dust.
spirit of a 16th century maiden, but it's actual dust. Like, you know, I'm mad into. I filmed a documentary called Culture Club, right? And we filmed it in the ancient centre of Ireland, which is a village away from my village. My village, right, is surrounded by 2 incredible villages, right? One, Michael Jackson stayed at for a few months, right? And I was in TY at the time, and the girl that I went to class with used to make Michael Jackson's beds. And I asked her, I was like, what does he do? What does he get up to? And she's like, he eats porridge mostly. That's the only information she had on Michael Jackson. I was like, that's so him. That is such a Michael Jackson
In bed.
thing
That's
to
so
do.
lavish.
Yeah, he used to have porridge. And the other village, which is a place called Kildare, is a place where the Catstone is, and it's supposed to be the ancient point of centre of Ireland. And there used to be 5 provinces of Ireland. There's Munster, Ulster, Connacht, Leinster, and then Meath. And Westmeath and Meath were a province, and the 5 high kings used to meet up and have a big party. in Kildare. And I went filming there anyway. And there's supposed to be a fairy fort. And I was filming in a fairy fort. None of the electrical equipment would work.
Whoa.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's weird. Like battery problems?
Probably batteries, but
Probably
let's say it's the spirit of ancient Ireland. Do you know? The spirits of ancient Ireland hate electronic equipment. Do you know? They must have got done in by Power City or something like Power City must have...
Hex on you, Power City.
Yeah. That's why Extravision is closed down now. They made sure of that. And Chartbusters.
Have you ever met a witch or other member of the occult?
I've done a Ouija board before. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I tried. Oh, sure. I tried to do a Ouija board when I was 11 at my own slumber party, and my friends got scared and ratted on me to my mother. Now my mother's got 2 rules in her house, right? And one of them is don't be doing any Ouija boards, right?
Yeah.
Because she knew a person that did a Ouija board and he ended up in the mental. So that was the thing. The other rule is don't be writing any fellas you're not in love with. And she said she knew a girl that wrote a fella she wasn't in love with, and guess where she is now?
Mental.
The mental.
Oh
now, yeah. And I used to think she was an idiot, but I did do both those things, right? And I did have to seek professional help in my adult life. So there's some wisdom there. Do you know what I mean? There's some wisdom.
When there's only ever 2 rules as well, you know, they're normally good rules.
So I did Dua Lipa, new rules. 1, don't do a Ouija board. And there's loads of rules of a Ouija board. Like you're supposed to put a ring of salt around you when you do the Ouija board because it keeps out bad spirits and slugs. You don't want any of that shit. At a
Not when you're on a
seance.
Ouija board.
No. So there's a fair few rules when it comes to it.
Did you actually get any good info from the spirits?
Well, so one time I properly did a Ouija board with my friend William. His parents were gone away to Marbella for the week. And it just kind of goes to show you the social life that we had. Like, normal people have house parties. And William was like, do you want to speak to the dead? I was like, yeah, I do. So we did a Ouija board. We put the ring of salt around us. And we were that protective as well. William had the 2 options. We had the Saxa table salt or the Don Carlos salt flakes, right?
Ooh.
And we gritted that kitchen with salt flakes, so it just destroyed the place. And we got chatting to a fella. We put our hands on the vessel. Yeah, he couldn't spell his own name at first. You know, he must have been drunk. He was like, Adagum. We were like, what kind of name is that? We said, is your name Adam? And he said, yeah. Now, at first, we said, is there anybody there? And the vessel went straight to X. And I took X as a form of aggression, and I got scared.
Right. So this is the part where the ghosts have clearly had a bit of fun. Being like, no, don't tell them about the Ouija board. We're pig ghosts. Or, you know, whatever ghosts do. So let's cut back to Alison talking about how she's being chased by a banshee. Ooh.
I threw the faster I ran, the louder the banshee got behind me. And I threw myself into a ditch, right? And I just went, take me, banshee. Take me. And as I was in the ditch, the noise had stopped. Now, Donna was an embarrassingly far amount away from me, right? There was one person that was going to die in this situation. And she had stopped too because the noise had stopped for her as well. And we realised, right, what we thought was the sound of a banshee was actually the sound of wind blowing for our hoop earrings. So that's the most ghost story you'll ever hear in your life.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
Whopper. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hey, that's a great story.
Okay, I'm going to throw some quick ones at you. Bigfoot. What's going on?
So that's like the Yeti.
Similar.
Oh, it's very different.
Similar or different?
Very different.
How different?
One lives in the Himalayas and the other lives in Washington.
Himalayas.
What?
Himalayas.
What?
It is actually Himalayas, so don't look at me like that.
The Himalayas.
Saying it wrong, you've been offending everyone.
All the Nepalese people I
All
know.
the Nepalese people, you know.
Himalayas.
Yeah, no, and the other one's in Chicago.
In Chicago, that's fine. So which one? Do you remember Harry and the Hendersons?
That's Bigfoot.
He's the Washington fella.
He's Washington, yeah.
Okay, and which one is Alf?
Alf's
What is Alf?
Alf's an alien
He's
who
an
eats
alien.
cats.
He eats cats, yeah.
He eats cats.
Yeah.
That what? Is there a name for him? Like
Oh,
It can't
ouch.
be like he eats cats. That's like Voldemort, he who must not be named. He who eats cats.
Fairies you believe in?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry,
Yeah.
I feel like I'm leading you there.
Well, no, I do because my mother got a bit of land, and the neighbour said you can't build on that land. There's fairies there, and she said no, I'm going to build on that land. And then my parents had a divorce, and we think it was the fairies that prevented us from building. We were told as well we wouldn't get any mobile phone reception
Because
because of the
the
fairies.
fairies.
Yeah.
What do you make of the abominable snowman? From what you know,
Oh, okay. So the abominable snowman. I'm from Westmeath, and the abominable snowman has a Westmeath connection, right?
Yeah, spot on.
Yeah, it's like, you know, if the abominable snowman went on the Late Late Show, and Ryan Tuberty would be, I believe you have some Irish connections, and he would go, yes, Ryan. And what do you think of the country? Do you like Ireland? Yeah, I love it. And then the whole crowd would go, yeah, give him the freedom of the city. So the abominable snowman, there's a guy called Charles Howard Berry, and he owned a Belvedere house at the turn of the 20th century. And he was a Jack the Lad around town. Yeah, he shot a tiger in the face.
Jesus.
He also he went exploring. So he went to Burma and he went to all these different countries. He shot a lot of stuff, right? But he spared a bear. There was a bear, right, called Agu. And he brought Agu back to Westmeath and would wrestle it in his garden as entertainment. And then the bear escaped and lived for 20 years in Westmeath. Yeah.
Under
It's
a
like-
different name.
Yeah, under witness protection. Although Westmeath get a lot of that, like, you know.
I used to get lost.
Yeah, so he went to the can you pronounce it for me?
Himalayas.
He went to the yeah. He went to the Himalayas, yeah. He went to the Himalayas and he had a Sherpa. And now the Yeti is like very big in what's the name? Nepalese culture. Anyway, and they're known as the Yeti. But there was a mistranslation with his Sherpa, and he was explaining he saw like an ape-like creature, and the Sherpa got scared, and he said what it was, but the translation went bad, and he was trying to say like dirty snowman, but Rex is Howard's boyfriend, Charles Howard Berry. I'll tell you about that in a minute. Charles misheard it and said it was the abominable snowman. Now, Charles was a lot like Gemma Collins, like he was a fecker for the media, you know. And he went straight back to the papers, and he's like, after discovering the abominable snowman, and so that's the Westmeath connection. He doesn't, you know, it's not as, it's as tenuous as Ronald Reagan's connection to Ireland, but
Or Barack Obama's.
yeah.
Well, there you have. So the abominable snowman. So what we normally do is we look at a creature and then we break it down into different categories and we give it a rating. So our categories are fighting. So it's FEC analysis, FEC.
Clever name, feck. Just
So it's fighting, evidence, and cool factor, right?
Cool factor.
But beforehand, what we normally do is to kind of get
Brilliant.
an idea of the creature. We like to do the elevator pitch. So Jago's going to do the elevator pitch, but the way we do it is it's as if Jago is chatting someone up in a kitchen at a party and is trying to explain what the Yeti is, while also third.
this is terrible.
So you're at a Nepalese party. You're cracking on.
I walk up to a Nepalese woman and I
Yeah.
say, "Hey, have you heard of the Yeti?"
Yes.
Okay. The Yeti, the name actually literally means rock man in a Nepalese, 8 to 10 feet tall, red, white, or brown, large ape-like hands, and that's about it. Do you fancy me yet?
I'm yours.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hey.
So the Yeti, surprisingly not white, not like you'd see on the Rudolph, that animated thing that he was in where he was white. He's actually brown and shaggy. And I have a few
In a
bits on there.
pre-Buddhist culture, the Lecce people, who were before the Nepalese, they worship things called the glacier giants, and they were like the bodyguards of Nepal, which was pretty spot on.
Yeah, so there's this. See, what's great about this podcast is because we review things, we think, oh, we can just give our opinions on it. We don't have to do too much research. But yeah, they were basically the bodyguards of like Shangri-La. So
You alright?
Yeah, I just realised I left my phone charging, and is it still there? Can you just have a check there? What?
Yay!
Hey.
Okay, I can now sleep calmly. Let's go.
Right, let's talk about it.
I thought you
know-
were just terrified of the Yeti, the face that went across you there.
Well, you see, there's more realistic to expect my phone being robbed than a Yeti coming in here. Do you know what I mean? I'm being logical. Unless a Yeti came in and stole my phone.
Hey. Well, look, it can probably steal, but can this thing fight? Fighting. What do you think?
Yeah, 100%. It's unreal fighting. It's a big ape. It's basically a gorilla. Could you fight a gorilla?
So it's funny you say that, right? Because I have a bit prepared for that. No, basically I was looking, because basically this is like a giant ape man, right?
Yeah.
So I Googled, could a human fight a gorilla, right?
Yeah.
What do you think?
It would depend what the gorilla had done to me. Do you know what I mean?
Moses.
Stole your phone.
It's still okay. A gorilla stole my phone. I feel like it would just get your finger. It would get its fingers in your chest cavity and tear you apart,
Absolutely.
and then like eat your organs.
So get this, yeah.
That's what I would feel a gorilla would do.
I mean, massive fangs, right? Gorillas are 15 times stronger than the average man.
Right.
15, right? And gorillas can also run, on average, between 20 and 25 miles per hour. Usain Bolt runs at 23
Wow.
miles per hour.
I'd fight a greyhound. That would be the biggest animal I would fight because it's like it's slender.
How'd you take it down?
I'd just kick it in its face. Wouldn't that be the best? I don't know. What's the most humane way? An injection.
Okay.
Yeah. Sleep. Maybe I'd try and do that with a gorilla.
With a gorilla. But that's a
Do
whatever.
a Harold Shipman on it. Sorry.
But that's a 5-foot gorilla. What about a 10-foot Yeti, right? So there's this. Have you ever heard of the Dyatlov Pass incident?
No, tell me more.
Has anyone ever heard of the Dyatlov Pass incident?
Also known as the Devil's Pass.
Also known as the Devil's Pass. So this is an attack that's attributed to the Yeti, right? So I think it was the 1950s, 9 Russian hikers, all carrying the highest possible certification possible, went missing in the Ural Mountains in Russia. Their bodies were found, and they had found that they had all died of hypothermia. One guy had a crack in his skull, but was not fatally wounded. So basically, a key part of this is, right, their tents were found slashed from the inside, so they were trying to flee something.
out of it.
Oh my God.
So that's the belief. But when they found them, one guy, 2 people had injuries, major chest fractures, and the doctor said that the force required would have had to been compared to the force of a car crash in the chest.
In the chest?
In the chest. There was no external wounds, although 2 of them were missing their tongues and their eyes.
What the hell is that Yeti up to?
And,
Jesus.
and there was also some radiation found on their clothes.
So, right, the Yeti is responsible for the radiation. How can we explain that?
It's just...
I think this is like making a murderer. So it is. The Yeti
been
has been
framed.
framed. Yeah. Why would an ape just eat the tongue and the eyes? Like, does he suck them out? Like a
apparently-
Ferrero Rocher just treating the skull?
Oh, Mr. Ambassador, you're spoiling us with these tongue and eyes.
Yeah.
Well, apes always go for apes surprisingly always go for the penis first of a
What?
man. Yeah.
Penis and anus of an animal.
Anus?
Yeah.
Oh ho 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 ho.
There you go.
There you go. And
I don't know how I know that, but there you go.
And they look to as well rip hands and faces off, like that woman who had the face transplant.
Oh yeah, do you remember that? Yeah.
Oh yeah, do you remember that?
Every conversation I have leads to that incident.
That was sad, wasn't it?
It was quite
Yeah.
sad.
But there's other ape attacks. So, or I have one here. Where is it? I have it here. So in 1974, it was reported that a 19-year-old yak herder was assaulted by a 4-foot-tall Yeti, which had killed 5 of her yaks by twisting their horns. Nepali police say, and that's the end of my sentence.
Okay.
What do you make of that?
I think that's also tragic. But do I think it's a Yeti?
Well, this is more so. We do it a bit weird where we talk about fighting before we talk about evidence.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, so I'm afraid.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'm afraid of the Yeti. Yeah.
So if you were to give,
it's sucking out people's tongues and eyes.
Yeah.
I'm afraid of it.
we give it a score between 1 and 10. In terms of fighting, what would you give the Yeti?
Look, I imagined it would eat all the organs, so I'm only going to give it an 8.
Oh,
an 8.
Yeah, an 8. Yeah.
very high.
I also gave it an 8.
And I, too, gave it an 8.
Oh.
We're in tandem. Now let's
Yeah.
move on to a cheeky bit of evidence.
Do you ever?
So we have jingles for everything,
Oh,
please.
sorry.
But what is the evidence, sir? I'm just writing something down.
Evidence.
Okay. Evidence.
So here's a bit of evidence for you. Wait, it's coming up. So here's a bit of evidence. So this is in 1832. There was a B.H. Hodgson reported that his Sherpa guides had seen a towering non-human covered from head to toe in dark hair. At the site, Hodgson with his armed party, this thing apparently fled in terror. They later said that it was an orangutan, but it was 17,000 feet in the Alps.
Right.
That's not normal in 17.
That is not. Yeah. Like.
So that is above the tree line. That is outside of anything that's habitable, outside of any vegetation.
Are we only allowed? Are the only 2 options Yeti or orangutan?
There
Could-
is
could
a
we have a-
bear. There's a bear that may live, like a prehistoric bear.
Well, look, bears live in Westmead, so I can believe anything. You know.
Jacob, what do you think?
What do you think as an audience, actually? Like, does that seem? I'm skeptic, and I feel I'm right.
Yeah,
to
what's
be.
the general consensus? Do you think a Yeti exists or even a Bigfoot exists? Yeah.
Well, it was. So it's been in Nepalese
go.
folklore for thousands of years. They've revered it for years, but it was really came into prominence in 1951 when they found this thing called the Shipton footprint. So during an expedition on Everest, you had Eric Shipton, Michael Ward, and actually Edmund Hillary before he finally traversed, found a footprint that was about 2 foot tall, and even actually Edmund Hillary put his pickaxe down just for scale. And this is visible, 17,000, massive footprint, looks ape-like, has a big thumb and everything.
I believe that. Then that's evidence. Yeah.
There you go. So
Okay. You've
Could it not be just like a
converted me.
Nepalese, like taking the piss out of the white man?
they could have been doing that. Well, what evidence do you have, Jacob?
But you just read about the Edmund Hillary stuff. I have about that, but there's a lot of sightings, and as I said, the Lecce people, they have statues that have been on back years. The Yeti means rock man, as I said before. So it's, I don't know. It's just, I don't want to believe, but
Why don't you want to believe?
I don't know. It's a really boring one, Yeti, isn't
What?
it? Sorry.
What are you talking about?
No, of all the cryptids we've done, the Banshee, unreal.
Yeah.
Love them. Aswang. Did you ever hear the Aswang? Well, basically, it's a flying
Flying dismembered torso.
that eats fetuses. Yeah, pretty
What?
cool. Yeah.
Someone should tell David Quinn about that. Get him on the case. He'll write a scathing thing about it.
So here's another interesting piece of evidence, right? So this is 2 stories in 2 Chinese officials in Tibet. Okay, so where are we? So in 1979, 2 Chinese officials were living in a hillside hut where they were forced to do compulsory part-time farm work. Sounds like gas crack. He went home. One of them went home that night, and they were in a flimsy hut. One of them thought his friend was playing a joke, and because he felt his hand on his face, so he slapped the hand away, but then realized that it was furry
Ooh.
and freaked the fuck out. So calling his friend for help, they found this thing. They wrestled this hairy, chest-high creature to the ground. They tied it up, and they went back to sleep.
Okay.
They apparently said that they were exhausted from all the farm work, but in the morning it had escaped.
No, it's always a way.
It's always a way. So they said that they were quite accustomed to catching various wild animals and tying them up, like birds, monkeys, and bears.
Fair enough.
But then a similar story. So that's one 1979 Chinese official. So that's something that they found this thing and fucked off the next day. Here's an interesting one. An early encounter called the Yeti among Nepalese people was in 1950s when Chinese troops were patrolling Zhangmu, a spectacular valley that descends the Tibetan plateau. A guard spotted a figure with long hair walking and crouching as it stealthily approached its post. He assumed it was one of the many prostitutes that used to sneak into Nepal to seek clients. And he dropped his rifle to go and arrest it. He seized it in the darkness, feeling what felt like a fur coat, dragged it towards the guardhouse. However, it broke free, ran down the steep gorge, which no human could have scaled, and its footprints found in the morning were not human. So what do you think of that?
That's a lot of information.
That is a
Figuring.
lot of wait, what?
So he thought it was a hairy prostitute.
Okay.
Sex worker.
What?
I read prostitute, but I should have said sex worker.
Oh, sex worker. Yeah, he thought it was a hairy sex worker.
Yeah.
And then he dropped his rifle to arrest said hairy sex worker,
Yeah.
and it was a.
And it was a monkey man.
Okay. Has any of these explanations ever been explained with drugs? Like,
Do you know that hasn't actually come up a lot?
It hasn't actually come up at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, funnily
It's a
enough.
weird one. It's usually men playing tricks, being a bit pricks.
Well,
what are you ever going to bring up lords as like,
lords,
or like not?
like Jesus.
Yeah, you know the
Oh,
apparition-
lords! Oh, Jesus.
Lords.
The
Yeah,
apparition of Mary, like there should be some evidence-based stuff on that.
We probably will go into it at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah,
God will be one at some point, I imagine.
Ooh, edgy,
Edgy
stuff.
edgy, controversial.
that would be the big one.
So look, these are a lot of the things that people. These are stories of the Yeti apparently being seen, but explanations for what it potentially could be
Yeah.
is an orangutan just up in Everest,
Yeah.
just chilling out.
Got lost on its journeys and just went up the mountain.
Could potentially be Gigantopithecus.
What's
Te-
that?
This is Gigantopithecus is a 10-foot bipedal ape that roamed around the areas of Tibet and Nepal. In fact, they found a massive jawbone. So it was like a 10-foot ape, but it didn't walk on its knuckles.
That sounds.
And it
That
did,
sounds
and
like
it
it.
did exist.
That's what it is then, isn't that?
Well,
That
it's been
sounds
extinct
perfect.
for hundreds of thousands of years, though.
About
so
100,000 years.
But sure, maybe one just
went to a cave, fell asleep, and woke up. And that's what,
exactly.
when the white man was knocking on his door, Edmund Hillary.
Yeah.
Could be. Well, look, I gave this thing, I thoroughly believe it exists.
Yeah.
And so I gave this an evidence score of 8.
See, I gave it a hard time, but I actually do think it exists. So 8 as
What
well.
would you-
Sure. Let's do 8 as well.
8.
Hey.
All together.
Because I don't want you to play that song.
Do you ask? Do you ask like about the writability of all of these?
See, that's how this.
So interesting you say that, right?
So Tony came to me, he's like, oh, I have an idea for a podcast. And I was like, what? It's like cryptids. I was like, unreal, love Bigfoot, love all that stuff. And he goes, how sexy could we get? Could you have sex with Bigfoot? Or how would you seduce Bigfoot? And
If
So
he
the-
shaved, yeah.
shaved him and brought him out for dinner.
Yeah.
So that was the original idea. The
mean,
actual
yeah.
Sexy Beasts came from a podcast where we would go through different cryptids and think how we would seduce it. But it just
It
Didn't
got,
really
it got
happen.
weird. Like, it got really
it got weird when,
Yeah.
especially when we were like
Talking about foot massage and the Bigfoot.
we were like writing down a date, and it was
Yeah.
like I feel like I'm coercing him now without his full consent. And
Yeah.
it didn't feel good.
Yeah, that's a different type of podcast.
So we jacked that in.
Because technically he is a beast, like he's an animal. So it's a bit bestiality.
Well, we hopefully that it's cognizant enough. But look, last thing that we do as well is cool. Is this thing cool? Cool, baby. I think it's mad cool.
Oh, yeah, I think it's cool. Alison?
Yeah, I think if you put a pair of sunglasses on him, he could be cool. Do you know what I mean?
But he's also like so iconic You know, you see the Yeti all over the place. He's what been the mascot for like every Winter Olympics ever.
I think what was it? Burma. All their stamps have the Yeti on it.
Have the Yeti on it. Of course, your man, the Wampas
From
Star Wars: Empire Strikes Back.
Oh yeah. Oh, but Monsters Inc. There's a Yeti in Monsters Inc.
There is, yeah.
Yeah.
Sully. Jesus, didn't think about that.
No,
yeah.
no, it's Sully's
really?
mate.
No, there's another one.
There's an
I
actual
haven't seen
Yeti.
it in a while.
Yeah.
Well, what we do to try and pick up, to try and reinforce how cool it is,
Yeah.
is normally we do movie trailers.
Oh.
Now, we don't have a movie trailer, but we do have a movie trailer, but we've kind of written a script for a short play.
Amazing. Let's do
would
it.
you be in this, please?
Yes.
This
yeah.
is our Yeti movie.
What's my
script.
character name?
Your character's name is Susie.
Oh, I
So-
like it.
Here you go. So, and there's going to be soundtrack for this. So,
Okay.
here you go. There's your script.
Beautiful.
And
I haven't seen this now. What character am I playing?
oh yeah, you're Susie's dad.
Lovely.
And you're also Sherpa 10 Spot. Here you go. Is your script.
When did you write this?
Wrote this morning.
Brilliant.
Yay.
Where was I?
Not at breakfast. Right. I've got all the crap pages. Hang on. Here we go.
Did you sometimes in the shower having a shit? I've fucking been found out. Oh no. My childhood.
It was you.
That's why I went silent when you mentioned it. I was just like, no.
Okay. Here we go. So this is the Yeti movie, right?
Okay. Are you doing stage directions?
Yeah. Susie's dad had gotten a big falutin job in Nepal, but that meant she had no friends.
Aw, Dad, I hate it here in Nepal. I ain't got no friends.
She hadn't made any friends yet. T.
Ah!
I know, Susie, but your dad has an important job fracking the Himalayan Alps.
Susie's dad hadn't understood exactly how to be a father yet. T.
I can see where this is going. You can go mountaineering. I've hired you a Sherpa. Oh, what?
I'm so
Oh.
bored. There's nothing to do around here.
Susie hadn't found anything to do around here yet. T.
Oh, and this is me now.
This is you.
You can go mountaineering. I've hired you a Sherpa. Meet Sherpa 10 Spot. I'm Sherpa 10 Spot. How are you going? How's it going, Susie? Here, come here to me now. Do you want to go climb a fucking Everest?
Okay, Sherpa 10 Spot, lead the way.
But Susie hadn't even got her bronze climbing certificate yet. T. So falls from a great height and lands into an ice canyon.
Ah, Jesus. Leave it out.
Susie awakens hanging upside down in an ice cave. A dark, shaggy figure is eating a leg of mountain goat. She frantically tries to pull herself out. The figure spots her and makes his way over.
Ah, the abominable snowman.
That's you.
Oh, it's me.
I really do hate that name.
They're about to learn that their new mountainous friendship is about to reach new heights. Yet. T. So now we see a montage of friendship. The Yeti is carrying Susie around the Alps. They're building snowmen. Both of them are feasting on a goat leg. Susie falls asleep on the Yeti's chest. T. And the next morning, Frack Corp USA arrives on the scene with Susie's dad driving the fracking machine. Susie waves at him to stop.
Dad, stop. Please don't frack Mount Everest.
I have to. Because of global warming, we need this snow for our Aspen Lodge. I don't know how fracking works.
Susie pulls the steering wheel from the big fracking machine and it crashes, throwing Susie's dad through the windshield. He hangs from a cliff face.
Yeti, you have to save him. My dad can't die yet.
The Yeti swings over using his icicle vines to Susie's dad.
Yeti, please help me.
Long live the king. Susie's dad falls to his death and fracking
And fracking is discontinued forever. Yeti.
Climbing up on Salisbury Hill, I could see the city light.
Very good. You should take up comedy.
So off the back of that, I give this a cool of 9.
Oh.
Ooh, I gave it a
I
cool
think it's pretty cool.
of 9.
Oh! You
Well,
don't have to.
because he's a snowman, I'm going to give it a 10.
Oh!
Because it's so cool, it's ice cold. I can't hear you. I said, what's cooler than being cool? The Yeti.
But you know what? I am going to defer.
Fuck's sake.
I am going to defer to your 10 and give it
Yeah.
a 10 as well.
Yay!
Which means we now get to play the I defer to you jingle.
I defer to you. You have made such a compelling argument. I defer to you. I'm so dumb, I can't even wipe my own ass. I defer to you. I tried to grab my phone, but I'm so dumb, I ended up grabbing a cactus. I defer.
He did that.
Whoa. What? When?
His phone was ringing. And he went to grab it. And he grabbed a cactus by mistake.
A cactus?
Isn't that the dumbest shit
That's
you ever
why
heard?
I wanted us all to have the same score.
Yeah,
Everybody was
we
just
had
like,
to
fuck,
defer.
I have no scores. I just said what you said.
Oh.
So,
Listen, I was busy. I was cleaning. I put my phone down, got a text.
It would be-
Little prick in the hand.
You didn't like put it up to your face. Hello. It's hands free then, you know?
Just-
Because it's just stuck to your face.
so now we like to close out the show. Thank you very
Ooh.
much, especially with the technical hiccups and everything. We like to close out the show with freak encounters.
Okay.
We have a jingle for everything.
Freak encounters. Oh, brilliant.
So we asked at the top of the show, does anyone have a freak encounter, a scary story they'd be willing to share with us, please?
Anyone?
Please come forward.
Brilliant.
Come on. A weird ghost thing that happened to you. Please come up and come on.
Even a blue
What do you
ghost.
got? What do you got? Come on.
Go on.
Come on. Yes,
Oh.
you have one. Come on. Well, look at we came prepared. So here we go. Freak encounter. Or actually, do you have a scary story, like genuinely scary story of something mad that happened?
I was flashed once. That was scary.
Yeah, that's not ideal.
By a ghost.
No, by a lad. I like literally when the guards. I called the guards, right, and they would ask me for a description, and I was like very descriptive, and I was like, they were like, "What was he wearing?" I said he was dressed like a member of the Backstreet Boys from the late '90s, right? And the guard wrote that down. Do you know? And I'd love to imagine like he was on the radio later going, "Nick Carter has struck again."
Some
You know?
fella in like some like sheen, glossy white trench coat walking down.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know what else. Oh, a lad once broke into my house
Oh Jesus!
with a pillowcase over his face and a knife, and he wanted my. He's like car keys, car keys. And
What did he want?
Sounds like a Yeti.
I mean, he did, and I went to him. I tried to learn how to drive when I was 15, but I couldn't work the clutch. I was literally apologizing to him for not passing my test, for not having a car. And then he just got me purse. Took my dole, the bastard.
Oh Jesus!
Stole my dole. Leo would love that.
That's why I love you. Apologize to ghosts and housebreakers.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, I got one that was sent in. Right, here we go. Scary music coming up. Oh, where's it gone? There we go.
Oh, I saw shit in a shower. That was scary.
Ah.
That was me. This guy.
Okay, this was sent in by Slimy Grimes on Instagram. So here we go. Scary story. Oh. When I was 8, we were at a wedding in Reading. I didn't mean for that to rhyme, but hey, here we are. My sister and her husband were getting ready to go to the church. My sister took her 3 rings off and left them on the locker beside the bed. And when she came out, they were gone. She searched everywhere, and her husband couldn't find them. And she went, got my mum and dad, who searched and pulled the room apart. And they found nothing. They got the owner, and my brother-in-law stayed in the room. The owners had nothing to say. My mum went outside to speak to them, and my sister was in the room crying to her husband. Oh my God, look. The 3 rings were on her dresser on top of each other. Everyone started screaming, and the owners still stayed quiet and informed my mum later that there was what they thought was a poltergeist haunting the room. What's weirder is this hotel guest house had prefabs at the back. And that's where me and my mum and dad were staying. Years later, there was a... Oh, Jesus, I hadn't read any of this.
Oh shit, this got really
Years later,
dark.
there had been a murder of 2 girls by a gang at them Sorry, it's a crap story. Thanks very much, Slimy Guy.
Oh my God.
Keep it light. Keep it light and airy,
Keep it
you know.
light.
Wow. What kind of hotel has prefabs?
Yeah.
Like, you'd
Haunted
expect
for
that in a
prefabs.
school, but not in a hotel.
Shock at a wedding as well.
Yeah,
Just
like,
staying at
It's
the back
about no
of the prefab.
expense.
you'd be pretty pissed off if you were in a prefab hotel for a wedding. Anyway, sorry. Is that the horrible bit of it?
That's
At the back of the prefab.
that's the back. Well, look, that's it. Thank you so much for coming out and for supporting us here and packing this place out.
Roasting.
Roasting. How
Roasting
are you feeling?
tent. So I really do appreciate
muggy. Oh, it's so muggy.
that. And it's so, I tell you that this weather's so muggy. Geez, I almost want to give it my wallet. So nice guys. Alison,
Yes.
where can we see you next?
Oh, so I'm interviewing Sharon Horgan at 6:15 in this tent right here. I'm so excited about it. She's my hero. And also, I'm doing the comedy tent at 6:50 on Sunday. And it'll be fun, all right? And if you see me out generally at Electric Picnic, please don't approach me. I'm kidding, do fuck it. I was being facetious for fun, but I'm not a bitch. You know.
Well, Alison, thank you very much. And guys, thank you very much, Miss Sexy Bees.
Supernatural vampires, banshees, Tony and Jago. Oops, there's a Wendigo. Hey, coming after me. Who the fuck said you could laugh at me, smack with me? With a Bigfoot dick you could slap with me? Blasphemy. You could dare come at me with a Bigfoot dick with a Loch Ness Monster pussy? Baby, sexy.
This has been a production of the Head Stuff Podcast Network.